Yeah, I got nothing. I thought if I just opened my mouth, if I thought if I just turned on the mic, I'd know what to say, but ended up just Lamaze breathing. So, cue it! Roll the freaking sound! Oh shoot, we're going in. Alright. Think fast. Think fast! Yeah! Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 12! That's 1 and a 2. Soon we'll do episode 123, and it'll be just as sequential. But hey, this is Full Circus. My name is Tristan Sartoris. We're back! We're back again! Yeah, we're back. We're back. I'm thinking fast. I didn't know. I wasn't ready. I wasn't prepared. But you know what? We keep the mic rolling. We keep it hot. Because sometimes the most magical times is when someone doesn't know what they're going to say. Think fast. Which is like the worst game you could ever play. If you have siblings, think fast sucks. Because it's really just an excuse for people to throw stuff at you. Because you're just sitting there sleeping and like, hey, well, I gave him a heads up. It was no good. But, that's what it's like living with 3 other brothers and a father. So, everybody just likes to throw stuff at you. And vice versa. I throw stuff at other people. But, hey, teach their own. I throw stuff, I get thrown. It's a yin-yang world, baby. This is a house of black and white. You throw stuff, you get thrown. Live by the throw, die by the throw. But it's all about thinking fast. And sometimes it doesn't work out. Sometimes it doesn't work out when I try to think fast. Sometimes I end up thinking a little bit slower than I want. Because I feel like a lot of times I start my sentences without actually knowing where I'm going. I just say, just talk. Which is not ideal, especially for trying to make a podcast. I'm just like, okay, you know what? I'll talk. I'll just talk, and whatever happens will. But I have no idea where I'm going most of the time. I just do. I just say stuff, and then you're like, wait, what's he talking about here? What is he? Yeah, so I'm learning to breathe, learning to relax, learning to say, hey, it's okay if I don't know where I'm at. But this is the inner workings of my mind palace. So we're all along for the ride. We're all along. It's just like one big crazy road trip. Except for we do know where we're going. We just don't know how we're getting there. So imagine that. Imagine we're trying to take a big old family road trip to the beach. And we're like, hey, we're going to this beach. The goal is to finish the podcast, right? It's to end this episode. But I have no idea how we're getting there. You get no maps. You get no GPS. No nothing. It was just you and the road, baby. Just like the olden days, right? I mean, I'm sure they had maps, but, some of these people just kept going, right? Like, hey, ask for directions. No, I won't ask for directions. Keep going. And then next thing you know, you're in Utah. Not to say Utah is not, the best in the world, but it ain't the beach. But you know what? That's what it is. Life's better with GPS. So if I had, a better outline, if I had a better plan, then yeah, I might be able to figure stuff out a little bit better. But I don't. So here we go. Flowing just like we do. I had a Cliff Bar today. This is another food diary episode, I guess. Every episode, I think I'm just going to tell you where this episode is brought to you by Cliff Bar. I mean, it's brought to you by about 18 carbs, 9 grams of protein, 2.5 grams of fat. And so we're powered. We're power bar. A little power, a little exercise. And the thing is, I used to hate that stuff. Cliff Bars, listen, I don't know if Cliff Bars is ever going to try and reach out and sponsor the show, but they're probably not after what I'm about to say. Cliff Bars suck, dude. Cliff Bars are they're awful. They taste so bad. And for 250 calories, I could spend that way better. That's a freaking whole bag of popcorn. More than. And same gram of protein. I don't even know what I'm doing with the Cliff Bar, honestly, but it was there. So sometimes you have to eat it. But anyways, Cliff Bars they're awful. They're so horrible. I remember eating those forever. My aunt would get them sometimes, and we would try them, or my mom would buy them, or really, I don't know why Cliff Bars would show up so often in my life. It's like some sort of weird haunting. But wherever I go in my life, I seem to be surrounded by these freaking Cliff Bars, and they're horrible. But I haven't been eating a lot of sugar in my life for the past few months. So I tried one again just now, and it wasn't that bad. Okay? So I guess this is my tagline for Cliff Bars. If you want to be a part of the show, if you don't know what good food tastes like, Cliff Bars are pretty average. They're pretty okay. So there's that. So, and I don't know if they want to sponsor the show after that, but if you want to, that's what I'll say. I'm saying it'll be decent only if you don't know what good food tastes like. Because I tried it, I was like, wow, this is actually pretty halfway decent. Probably, I don't know, but it's good. I mean, the food wasn't good. I mean, it was good that I can eat worse foods. The freaking Cliff Bar wasn't like, wow, tastes good. It was like, wow, this is, I'm not gagging. So that's a start. That's a freaking step in the right direction. But here's to you, Cliff. But yeah, it's been a wild time not eating a lot of junk food recently. I mean, I'm down like 60 pounds just eating random stuff. I mean, you can make some pretty good tasting stuff if you just know how to make it right, but I'm down 60 pounds. 60. Okay? You know what? I used to tell my mom all the time I needed to lose some fat. I've been fat for years, for like 12 years. Since I was 10 years old. I've been fat. Couldn't lose the weight. And every time you're like, hey, Mom, I want to eat healthy so I can lose some weight. This is why moms are the best, is because they never, I don't know, she just never wants to say I'm fat, or she never wants to admit it. I have no idea. But every time I'd say, hey, I got to lose some weight, my mom would be like, whoa, you probably need to lose 5-10 pounds. I'm like, oh, okay. And I'm down 60, and I'm still not even in great shape. So I don't know what the deal is. And then you're like, hey, Mom, I lost 85 pounds. I'm like, well, yeah, you freaking hit it well. I have no idea where that came from. I don't know what it is. Moms just really love their kids. No matter what, they can never say they're fat. Unless you got a mom out there, and then you're like, well, my mom always calls me fat. And I'm like, well, I'm sorry, dude, but my mom freaking loves me. And, yeah, my whole life I've always been like, and maybe that's a downfall. Maybe it's pretty hard to lose weight when your mom keeps telling you don't need to. Like, hey, no, you're fine. Maybe 5-10 pounds if you want. I don't know. I suppose. But you're right there. I'm like, no, but 60 pounds later, well, where'd that come from? That's what my mom does. Every time I've lost weight up and down a few times. Every time I lose it, she's like, wow, where did that go? You wouldn't have known. You wouldn't have known. And the thing is, I think she's being 100% genuine here. Because there's no, I'm looking at myself, everyone else is looking at myself, but somehow she seems so convinced that I don't have 60 pounds to lose. But I'm 250 pounds. And that can't be right, because it's not freaking built out of muscle. It's just blubber. But you know what? 2020 was hard for everybody, so you can't blame me. You can't blame me for being like this. But, yeah, my mom, she would never admit it. And sometimes I go back and forth wondering, hey, did she really mean it, or did she know? But it's hard. It's hard. She'll never own up to it. So now I'm going to get in shape. And then, I don't know. I don't know where to go from there. I've never been there. I've never been in shape. I haven't been in shape since I've been an adult. A grown-up. I can't call myself an adult, man. It's so hard. It's so hard for me because I don't know. I feel like my brain is such an 11-year-old track mind. Like, I can't, the thought of calling me an adult just doesn't stick well with me. I just don't feel like I can call myself that. I pay the bills and I'll work and whatever, but I could take on the responsibility. But some reason in my mind, in my persona, it's hard for me to admit I'm an adult, and maybe that's part of growing up. It's just to figure out that is. But you know what? The biggest problem with it, the issue I have, is that, my name does not shorten in half, okay? Now, everyone else in my family, the Carltons, my brother and my dad, they got the same name. They got a little less creative along the way. I don't know. But, Carlton becomes Carl. Joseph becomes Joey or Joe. Nicholas becomes Nick. Jessica becomes Jess. And all these different things. Everybody's got a way to shorten it. Like, okay, you're an adult now. This is the coming of age, halving of your name. We're removing the childness, the childishness, the adolescence of your name right there, right? The end or whatever. But I can't shorten it to Trist. What is that? What is freaking Trist? That's just some sort of weird, crappy, half-made nickname that doesn't apply to anything. I can't do that. How am I supposed to be an adult and go and wear a suit and shake someone's hand and be like, hey, my name's Trist? That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard of. Okay? So I can't do that. And until I figure out a way to shorten my name, I can't be an adult. And maybe that's probably the rite of passage is finding your shortcakes, the shortening. I don't know. Do I go Tris, Try, Tur? I have no idea. Maybe Stan, Stanley. But that's a full name. You go by Stan. Stanley doesn't go by Stanley in the real world. Stanley, guys, goes by Stan when he's really taking it up. But it's hard. It's hard being a grown-up. I think. I don't know. I don't know if I am one. Crap! One day I'll figure it out, and you'll all see. You're like, wow. I'm like, hey, welcome back to Full Circus. My name is Sartoris. And like, wow, this guy's super freaking, full of himself. But here we are. Maybe I'll grow up. I feel like a lot of other people start really coming into their own. Like, hey, I'm my own man. I'm my own guy. Probably around like 13, 14. For me, when I thought I'd be grown up was when I thought I was be too old for Spankins, right? We used to get Spankins. It's a disciplinary measure. And I loved it. Well, I hated it, but looking back on it, there's probably no other better punishment than getting a spanking. And now we didn't get it a lot of the times. It was just more of a scare tactic, like, hey, you're going to go get a spanking. Like, whoa, okay. Because nothing in my life have I ever gotten a spanking for and then repeated to do the same action. Okay? I just can't do it. I couldn't do it. Like, there was one time, I don't even remember what I did. I don't know. I pooped out a tree. That's what I did. I freaking climbed 30 feet in the air in someone else's tree, and then I pooped out of it. Raindrops are falling on my head. It's raining mud, baby. No, I was trying to think of a good joke to use on it, but really the story speaks for itself. So I pooped out of a tree. Okay, fine. I was 8 years old, and I got a spanking for it. You know what I haven't done since? Pooped out of a tree. Because grounded, like, I don't know how anybody does anything off grounding. Maybe we were just really misbehaved children, and that was the only way they could get through to us. But if I was going to get grounded for like, oh, you can't do this, you can't have TV, you can't go outside, can't stay in your room, who cares? What's the big deal? What's that going to do? Because when I got a spanking, I was like, okay, this is bad. We're in freaking ground zero. This is bad. We're in a bad situation right here. So, yeah, I was afraid of that for a long time. Didn't want that, and you know what, we got it. And I appreciate the spankings. Looking back at it, I mean, I don't want one anymore, but just saying, as a child growing up, and it created a lot of fear, which in turn created a lot of responsibility. No more pooping out of trees. Okay, that's basically the biggest lesson I took from discipline growing up, was that you shouldn't do that. And that wasn't my first time. The other time I didn't get a spanking for it, and it happened again. Okay, so life lesson. I don't know how many parents are out there listening to this. If your kids are pooping out of trees, grounding them just might not do it these days. There might be a little bit something there, because it's just not enough. But anyways, my thought of when I would be grown was when they were like, okay, you're going to get a spanking. And I'd be like, okay, yeah, it is what it is. Nice discipline, it's whatever. And I thought that would be the moment. That's like, yes, I'm finally an adult. But then, the whole name thing came about, and I'm still stuck in limbo. But anyways, the reason I thought about this was because the oldest of the Sartoris boys, Carlton, okay, we must have been at the beach. It was 2008, so he would have been 14 or whatever. And we were just talking. We were just talking on the beach. My mom and dad had gone for a walk, and we were just alone. Brother talk, which basically just means four boys coming up with some random crap, something that's going to get them in trouble. And we would say something, and they'd be like, oh, no, we can't do that. We're going to get in trouble. No, we can't do that. We're going to get a spanking. And then Carlton speaks up, and he just goes, hey, I'm not scared. And it was like the biggest moment of my life that I still remember to this day, where we all like did a double take. What? You and it was like he was like this action hero star that was walking away from an exploding building. We just had our hands on our face like, no! Like, it was incredible. It was the most courageous thing that had ever been said up to this point. And I always think about that. I'm like, man, if I could just, get to that point where he felt like he was in that point, and maybe if I figure out how to shorten my name, I would feel like that. But I can't. So I'll never have that moment. And, that's where you need to have that ferocity, that courage to know that you are your own man. And that's what he had in that moment. We all just freaking went, wow, what a guy, what a hero. Because if I would even pretend to say something like that, they would have jumped, like my parents would have just came back immediately. Like, I'm like, how would you know they did that? And because parents got that crazy radar or whatever, they'll track you down without even trying. That's the worst. Radar's the worst. Parent radar. When you do something, you just think you're getting away with it, but then they're just like, hey, what's going on? Because they share your same facial expressions, right? You think they don't know when you're hiding something, what's going on? I'm an awful liar. I can't pull it off. No one has. Not against their parents. I mean, maybe you have, but none of us four didn't. They would track you down. And even if I wasn't even around them, I could be in my room, door closed, and they could just be like, "Hey, what's going on?" I'm like, what do you mean? I didn't poop out of a tree, and they caught you. They freaking caught you red-handed. It's the worst feeling ever. Getting caught is the worst feeling. It's like everything just rushes. Like, no, wait, stop. Oh, why did I do this in the first place? Everything is hot and melting, and I'm shaking. Okay, fine. It's like when you open the freezer and something just spills out, like just a bunch of crap, and then you have to pick it up. It's just like a horrible feeling. You're just like, dang it, why me? Why me? And I hated it. So that's why I try not to do anything bad, because it doesn't work out for me. I get caught, I get in trouble, and then I can't poop out of trees anymore. So I guess the lesson is to don't. I don't know. But be careful. Be careful around the parents. And again, props to Carlton. That was some magical stuff right there. Oh, okay, man, it's hot. It's hot in here. It's always hot in here. It's never going to get hot. And one day we can get out of this closet and we'll finish the studio and we'll have the camera on, whatever, and the AC will be, let the smiles of the freaking wind gods rain down on me. And it'll feel great. But until then, it's just going to it's a little sauna. It's a little, you can hear me sweating. I don't even know what sweating sounds like. But if you could hear it, it's in this room. Yeah, so what's been going on? What's going on with me right now? I got a new segment coming up right here, and we're just gonna jump right into it. It's called Dream On! It's not karaoke. That's not the bit. The bit is I had a weird dream. I had a weird dream last night, and we could try and analyze it real quick. Because what's more fun than analyzing someone else's dreams? Okay, so to set the scene, it's probably 5 p.m., skies are cloudy gray. I roll into this empty parking lot. There's a little pond, but it's like a lake right in front of it, right in front of the parking spot. I'm pulling into a parking spot. It's got a parking brick and a little bit of a fence right there. It's like on a slope right towards the lake. And I'm pulling up as close as I can for some reason. I'm pulling all the way up to the brick. I'm like, I want my wheels to touch this thing for whatever reason and get as close as I can without going over. So all of a sudden I hit the brick with the tires. I'm like, okay, we're going to put it in park. And then the parking brick is gone magically. And I put it in park, and you know how your car shifts a little bit when you put it in park? So it shifts forward into this little patch of dirt, and all of a sudden the dirt starts crumbling, and the car starts falling forward. It falls down, and the car tumbles into the water. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And I'm trying to get my seatbelt off, and then I try to get out the driver door. When the car spills down onto its side, so it slams down, the door that I wanted to get out is now on the ground. And the cars, they're already full of water. And the windows weren't up. I don't know, it was just full. And I was like, oh crap, now I gotta find a different exit. And I'm like, I gotta swim up to the passenger door, and I gotta try and get out of there and get out and push up against the freaking pressure of the water. And then I woke up. But the whole time I was in there, and I don't know why the whole time I was in there, it was like I was afraid. I was like, but it was more like, oh great, this sucks. But I knew I was gonna get out of it. Isn't that weird? So I was in there, and I was supposed to be drowning. It was supposed to be the scariest moment ever. And I just had this breath, and I was like, I know everything's gonna be okay. For some reason, I know that I'm gonna get out of this. Now I woke up before I got out, but I knew that somehow I was gonna escape, and everything was gonna be okay. Now, I don't really know what kind of stresses I have in my life. Maybe some sort of subconscious thing, and maybe this is just for someone else here right now. But if you're in that car right now, if you're in that stress, if you're in that bubble, if you're in that water, this is no joke, okay? This is no freaking. I know I'm doing a little laugh, chuckle, talk, and I'm talking like this, but maybe this is what someone else needed. Thank you, Jesus. Like I knew God would take care of me here. Someone else needs to hear this. I have no idea. Or maybe this is for me. But maybe you are in that car. Maybe you'll get out. Maybe you will. Maybe just know that everything will be taken care of. Thank you, Jesus. Yeah! Fun fact, I heard I was driving by this old lady here today, and she was just jamming out to a motivational speech. And she was like 93, maybe 94. I don't know. I didn't get a real good look at her hands. Which is, it's like kind of like telling like tree roots, like the rings and whatever. And I was like, oh, dang, that's got to be somewhere around there. I didn't get a good look, but somewhere around there. And she was just going hard, and she was so inspired. And it was like, you can't quit. You can't quit. You can find your way because your path's not done, and you will get out there, and you will achieve, and you will find your dreams. I'm like, wow, she's freaking. I'm getting hyped up just looking at her, and the fact that this old lady, and she's already, at the end of her race, and she's going more. She's getting ready. She's amped up for her next run. I was like, dang, that's an awesome. It's got me freaking fired up. So we were at the red light next to each other, and I was like, well, I'm fired up. So I smoked her off the line because, I'm super competitive. That's what happens. You get a little bit competitive, and if you're at a red light and you just smoke an old lady off the front line, it happens. Okay, I can't help being competitive. It's just raw competitive nature. If I could change it, I wouldn't, because I love it. Yeah, I get overly competitive. I used to get so focused on winning all the time that losing was just way too hard. I would play a video game, and I think I've talked about this on the podcast. I have no idea. Isn't that great? We're getting to the point in the podcast where we say, hey, have we said this on the show before? I don't know. But anyways, yeah, I was playing a video game, and I lost, and I ran into my parents' room crying. I went, no, I was so close. I was so close, and I was beat them. And then, yeah, and they were like, okay, well, I don't know what to tell you, And so eventually they made me feel better, and I came down to do the podcast right now. So one day I'll grow up. No. So anyways, I get so into it. I get so into winning is everything. Winning's not everything, it's the only thing. Sometimes, and it gets really hard for me. And I get competitive in stupid other ways. Like we would go get a candy bar at a gas station or something, and my younger brother Nick, we'd be sitting there eating our candy bar, and I would look at him and I would say, okay, well, whoever can eat their candy bar the fastest wins. Now, I didn't really care who ate their candy bar the fastest. This wasn't the real competition. I wanted to be, for some reason, the victor. The real version of winning was to still have your candy bar. So I said, let's go. And I would pretend to freaking nibble on it and go fast. And then he would just plow and chocolate all over his face. And then I would have this weird, satisfying feeling of like, I'm the only one with candy. And I just couldn't do anything about it. I'm just so freaking competitive that my younger brother, who was like 3 or 4 years old, I don't even know, that I'm just like, I have to beat you. I have to have a candy bar and you can't. Na. And I couldn't get over that feeling, and I still do this in some ways to this day, and he doesn't even know about it. Sometimes we'll get something, I'll just sit there with my food until he eats this, and like, oh wait, now I can satisfy and be the only one eating. I don't know. I have some problems I need to freaking figure out. I'm just competitive. That's all it is. But yeah, I don't know. It's hard being competitive, baby. It's hard. What else is going on? There was a blood moon. There was a blood moon last night. It was like near the Milky Way. And listen, I keep seeing posts and stuff all over online, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, everything. People are like, wow, this freaking blood moon was so rare. It was amazing. The only one you're going to have for 40 years. It came out here and did this, and then the super moon, and this other moon, and the pink moon, and the giant moon. Like, well, how many freaking times is the moon going to be rare a year? How many times do we really get this? At a certain point, it's just having something rare and then just having more things rare but different isn't really that rare in the first place. That's kind of just like saying, oh, this is the only May 2021 that we're ever going to have. But we're going to have another May the same very next year, or we're going to have another month. Like this is the last 2021 May you'll ever experience. It won't even happen again. But then no one makes a big deal of it because months happen every month, and that's how I feel about these moons. It just keeps showing up. I'm like, what's the big deal? And maybe I'm just a little jealous of them because I don't have a freaking telescope. They're freaking expensive, and I spent all my money on Heelys. All right. So I think that's gonna be it. I think that's gonna be the end of the show. think that's going to be the end of the episode. It's hot. It's burning up. It's a freaking honka burning, man. Those aren't the words. I don't even know what that was. But that's okay, because the end of the episode is really just a moment where people can speak freely about themselves, about other people, each other, and whether that's... So I got a lot of things I got to say. I have a list right here. 1, mom. I'm just kidding. I would never diss my mom, because I'm afraid of spankings. All right, so guys, thank you so much for being in the episode. Thanks for so much. I'm just going to keep on saying thank you, because that's what gratitude's all about. As long as you say it a bunch of times, eventually you really sound like you mean it. But that doesn't mean I don't mean it. It just means I'm really bad at conveying emotion. All right, guys, thank you so much. All right, I don't even know what I'm talking about. Have a great one. Have a beautiful weekend. I love you. Peace. See you next episode.